Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Haley has the night off. Thanks so much for joining us. Our top story, Hurricane Irma and its assault on Caribbean islands. The National Hurricane Center calling Irma potentially catastrophic. Several islands, including St. Bart's, Barbuda, and Guadeloupe, have already been in the Category 5 storm's path. British Virgin Islands feeling its wrath this afternoon. Closer to home, Manatee County, Bradenton, Northport, and Venice have each declared a state of emergency. Let's get the latest track now with ABC 7 Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan, just out from the Hurricane Center. Bob?
That's right, just coming in right now from the Hurricane Center. There's no real big changes to it from the advisory from 11 a.m. This is the full-scale advisory as well. The winds remain at 185 miles an hour. Never have seen a storm stay that strong for such a long duration of time. All the energy with this single storm is actually greater than all the storms we've seen thus far this season, including Harvey. So this is a bad storm, obviously, moving to the west-northwest, just now clearing away from the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and also causing some problems into Puerto Rico right now, where they are experiencing some hurricane-force winds. The change in the track, not much at all. It's still expected to move as a 5 to the west-northwest, maybe diminishing somewhat as it goes through its eye wall replacement off toward the west-northwest. And then that cone of uncertainty still includes our coast, but the news is a shift to the right has continued to be the story throughout the day today. And there is an ever so slight shift to the right, but not much. It pretty much remains the same as it was at the 11 o'clock advisory for a possible landfall into southeast Florida. Now, it still could be at this end right here, and there's still a chance it could be out here, but most of the models now are shifting east at this point, and that's the reliable models as well. The winds, even parallel with our coast, will be up to 145 miles an hour to the east of us. Now, this is a rather large storm, and what that means is that the wind field has expanded and will continue to do so, we do believe, and the tropical storm force winds extend out over 185 miles, possibly to the west, and that means we would see tropical storm force winds if it were to follow this center line. Obviously, if it were to move out here, the winds would not be nearly as strong, so there's still a lot of question marks for us here along the west coast of Florida as far as that goes. I mentioned the track error. It's still pretty large, although it is narrowing somewhat. Yesterday at this time was 500 miles, and now it's about 400-mile error from one side to the other. So they're starting to get a little bit better handle on to where the storm is going and gaining a little bit more confidence with the forecast at day 4 and even at day 5. You can see the satellite review showing this massive storm system continuing to push off toward the northwest, west-northwest now. And there's the Virgin Islands. It's now clearing that area and really causing hurricane-force winds into the eastern portions of Puerto Rico. Real quickly, I'll show you the spaghetti plots, and most of them, again, shifting to the east, and it looks like that is going to continue at least for possibly another forecast run, and I think things will start to calm down after that. Well, much more in the forecast. We also have, at this point, 3 hurricanes, Scott. We have 2 in the Atlantic and 1 now in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. We'll have more of that coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Just incredible. All right. Thank you, Bob. Here on the Suncoast, emergency management centers are taking the necessary precautions to make sure everyone stays safe. Both Manatee and Sarasota County EOCs are already anticipating potential problems for residents here. ABC 7's Dwayne Lindo joins us live at Sarasota County's Emergency Operations Center with the latest from there. Dwayne?
Well, Scott, at this point, Sarasota County has not declared a state of emergency, but they are continuing to look closely at the storm. So is Manatee County. They have declared a state of emergency, making sure residents are informed and making smart decisions. But the key point for both counties is to begin helping those who can't help themselves. Manatee County Human Services Division throughout the day has been making direct calls to people on a special need registry to make sure they have a plan during the storm. Also putting them on alert that an evacuation notice can come at any time.
In the state of Florida, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, hospitals, and any residential healthcare facility is required by state law to have a plan.
And we sent out a letter yesterday explaining what they need to check with their corporate headquarters, find out what their trigger points are, what their evacuation plans are, dust off their emergency plans that we have reviewed, make sure their staff is aware of those plans and they have the resources to do what they need to do. And if they get in trouble, to let us know so we can provide assistance to those resources.
Now, coming up at 6, more important and pertinent information from both counties, Sarasota and Manatee EOC chiefs, coming up at 6. Scott, back to you.
All right, Dwayne, thanks so much. As the Suncoast prepares for Hurricane Irma, people are rushing to get supplies, but they're finding a shortage in many places that they visit. ABC 7's Christopher Brantley joins us now with more on the story. Christopher?
Good evening, Scott. And as people are going out to get supplies, they're also going to get gasoline. But those that are arriving here at the Sunoco station on US 41 and 10th Street are finding it, like many other stations, is completely out of gas. In Inglewood Tuesday, Sarasota County officials ran out of bags for sandbags, with many people still waiting. Then, to make matters worse, a dump truck opened its bed into a power line. The facility was closed. In Venice, bags were in short supply, but sand was brought in by the dump truck full.
I normally don't prepare, but this one's a little scarier for me, so I decided to get sandbags and protect my front door.
Terry Rohan was able to shovel sand into bags, but Carol Lovely was having a hard time.
I don't believe the town or city of Venice has accommodated the disabled.
Lovely tells us she was promised there would be help for the disabled.
Because I have to do my own bagging, and I will probably be flat out in bed for the next 2 days if I have to carry these bags to my car.
Eventually, some other folks stopped what they were doing and helped Lovely out. It wasn't just sandbags, though. There was a rush on all kinds of supplies at the local Home Depot in Northport.
Our biggest items that they're looking for currently are generators, the plywood, Tapcons. Those are the items and water that folks are coming in for the most looking for that we're trying to get to our customers.
One of those customers is Peggy Burton, who has tried for 2 days to find a generator.
I got here at 4:30 this morning, and I met another manager in the parking lot, and he said there's a shipment coming in, but we don't know when, so you're just going to have to be diligent about it.
Burton said she wasn't planning on leaving until she could get her hands on a generator. At the time of our interviews, Home Depot staff was working to get another shipment.
We aim as a company to be the last place to have their doors open as long as possible and the first ones to open back up as soon as we're given the all clear.
If generators and water weren't tough enough, lines at gas stations were, in some places around the block.
Well, it's starting to get crazy. I don't know, people are panicking.
Mark Lamoureux was getting gas just in case he has to leave town.
This just started. It wasn't like this an hour ago.
Yeah.
You could drive right in.
And hard to say right now when the Sunoco station behind me will get gas replenished. And it's difficult to say where you should go out to get gas right now, because just as quickly as the gas is replenished, it could be gone again. Live in downtown Sarasota, Christopher Brantley, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Christopher, thank you. Local blood banks also in need of donations. The Suncoast Blood Bank has been asking people to donate blood and platelets to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey, and it's now asking for even more donations since Floridians may soon be in a similar situation. The blood bank says it needs at least 300 donors to give blood before it ceases collections on Friday.
So if you're eligible to donate, especially O negative, that's a universal donor type, please come out to one of our locations. We're adding blood drives as we speak.
Blood Bank says patients in the hospital fighting cancer or blood disorders will still require transfusions and blood products through the storm. To track their bloodmobile locations, you can check their website, scbb.org. Sarasota County is asking residents to reduce water use to ease pressure on lift stations once the rains come. Lift stations are used to pump sewage out, and they can flood if too much water is being used. You can do your part by now running your dishwasher or washing machine. Turn off the tap also when you brush your teeth. Sarasota and Manatee County residents can still sign up to receive code red alerts to their cell phones. The system issues calls, texts, and emails that warn people about everything from a boil water notice to a tornado warning. But your phone will not be notified automatically unless it's a landline, so you can register your cell phone for code red alerts online at the Sarasota and Manatee County websites. ABC 7's First Alert Storm Team has everything you need to be ready for a storm. We have information about shelter, supply kits, how to prepare your home in our hour-long special called Surviving a Hurricane, which will air this evening in an encore presentation at 7 o'clock here on ABC 7. It's also available anytime on our other platforms, including Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. You can also check out our First Alert Weather 2017 Hurricane Guide on our website. Go to mysuncoast.com, click on the Weather tab, and then look for the Hurricane Guide. Still to come in your Suncoast News tonight, Governor Rick Scott compares the potential damage of Hurricane Irma to historic Hurricane Andrew. Now he's preparing the state for the worst. And we'll get back to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for more details on our first alert forecast. And could more coffee mean a longer life? One of the compounds found in the drink could reduce age-related health problems.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery?
Sure.
We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
There's never been a better time to call California Closets. Now during our autumn upgrade event, save up to 20% when you upgrade to an Italian-inspired wood grain finish. Contact us for your free design consultation today. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
At Tidewell Hospice, we know it's never too late to say thank you to our military veterans. The Tidewell Honors Veterans Program has provided care to more than 13,000 military families since 2008. Tidewell volunteers help honor veterans through special pinning ceremonies that demonstrate our appreciation for the freedom our veterans fought to defend. If you know a veteran who can benefit from end-of-life care, call or visit tidewell.org today. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
There's never been a better time to call California Closets. Now during our autumn upgrade event, save up to 20% when you upgrade to an Italian-inspired wood grain finish. Contact us for your free design consultation today. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
Governor Rick Scott continues to warn all Floridians to pay attention to record-setting Hurricane Irma. Governor Scott says Irma could be bigger than Hurricane Andrew, a devastating Category 5 hurricane that hit South Florida 25 years ago. Scott says he's working on bringing in all the resources Floridians will need before and after the storm.
I've already called up 1,000 members of the National Guard. I'll add another 6,000 members tomorrow, and they'll be doing things such as helping with sheltering, helping do evacuations, making sure evacuation routes are clear.
The storm is bigger.
Scott says he's making sure all sorts of shelters are open around the state, including pet and special needs shelters, and he urges Floridians that can volunteer to do so. Now to the latest on the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. The storm affected nearly every neighborhood in Houston, and there was one complaint from almost every area: help not coming fast enough. Stephen Romo has more on what 911 operators learned from the storm.
In the historic flooding brought on by Harvey, many people needed help and turned to 911.
We did see a huge increase in call volume during the time span.
911 coordinator Kathy Yost says the 911 system never went down, even though their main call center lost power.
We never lost communication with our first responders. We never lost communication with the citizens.
They had a backup plan ready. Calls immediately transferred to the Greater Harris County 911 call center. but many people reported frustrations and delays when calling 911. Officials said to stay on the line, but many people panicked and hung up. Officials said, well, they learned from every emergency, there's not much they would have done differently.
And that's like they just said, forget about us.
Jason Orphy lives in Kashmir Gardens. He was able to drive his truck out, but his neighbor called 911 trying to get a 94-year-old woman to safety without ever reaching an operator. Volunteers eventually saved her, and she was not alone.
A neighbor directly across the street from me had the same situation.
The rapidly rising water making the situation even more desperate.
I couldn't even reach her from where I was because I can't walk through 5 feet of water and pick up a woman who can't walk.
Now that the rescuing is over for the most part, people in Northeast Houston say they still fear being forgotten.
I don't have housing. I'm still sleeping in my truck. Okay, you were able to save the majority of us from flooding and drowning, but where's the help now?
Stephen Romo reporting from Houston, and I think that storm really woke up a lot of people, and that's why we're seeing the reaction we're seeing this week.
The response with this storm, Irma, is a direct result of what they've seen and what people have seen from Harvey. Obviously, Harvey being one of the most amazing storms ever, dumping 52 inches of rain, and then you follow it by Irma, which is another record breaker in terms of hurricane intensity and speed. And now we have 3 hurricanes that are in the tropics. One in the Southwest Gulf, no problem with that. Jose behind Irma, not a problem either for looks like any land area at this time. But we have one big storm we've got to get through, and unfortunately, the track has not shifted at all. It's pretty much the same as it was at 11 o'clock, which shifted east, which was really good. That's a positive thing for the west coast of Florida, not too good for the east coast of Florida. And the European model, I'll let you know, has shifted a little bit back toward the west near the center line, but the center line has not moved from the 11 o'clock advisory. What the National Hurricane Center did at the 11 o'clock advisory is that most of the models were east of this line, but they didn't want to go and put it all the way over here because they figured there'd be some flip-flopping a little bit, and there's just a slight nudge of the European model back to the west and the GFS on top of that. Well, the forecast path and track continue to take it off that west-northwesterly course into the Turks and Caicos with a 20-foot storm surge they're anticipating there in the Turks and Caicos in the southeastern portions of the Bahamas, and then moving off toward the north after about day 3. And then this is Saturday again and Sunday. You can see the forecast here. This is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And as far as we're concerned, we are still going to deal with a fairly significant weather event here along the west coast of Florida. Not as bad as it could have been, it looks like, at this point, but still, I don't want people to put their guard down and think this is going to be an easy storm. It's not that easy. Even a tropical storm can be tough to deal with. And I think what we're going to see right now are tropical storm force winds for certain in Sarasota and Manatee counties. And we could see 50 to 60 mile an hour sustained winds here. And then even higher in Hardee and DeSoto and Highlands counties. Highlands County being the heaviest wind, I think, as far as that goes. They could see up to near hurricane force winds there. Well, the cone of uncertainty is based on all these different computer forecast model runs. You see a couple of these yellow lines here. That's all part of the GFS. The GFS runs about 20 different forecast runs or different kinds of forecasts based on tweaking the certain variables. And when they tweak them, they change and shift the course. You can see a couple of those models here to the East Coast as well. So again, pretty much that center line right there across parts of East Florida, Southeast Florida. So we'll keep an eye on this over the upcoming couple of forecast runs, but right now it appears that it's going to stay, at least the center of the storm is going to stay east of our immediate viewing area, which is good for us, bad for obviously the East Coast. This is the GFS model run, again showing it moving along the coast of Cuba there, then up through Southeast Florida. And you can see some of those winds, they're going to be up to 50 miles an hour sustained. Those will cause some tree branches to actually be ripped apart, and also power outages, not too uncommon with a 50 mile an hour wind sustained. And then it moves off to the northeast. We are also going to deal with some very heavy rainfall. As you know, 2 weeks ago, we had 17 inches of rainfall in some areas of the Sun Coast. And Venice got hit hard, obviously, as well as into northern portions of Sarasota and southern portions of Manatee County. And we could see an additional 5 to 10 inches of rainfall and maybe even more in some isolated areas. This is the European run. And once again, getting close to Cuba, this will disrupt its flow a little bit. So that's the thinking that it's going to get down to a Category 4 hurricane. But even that is considered a catastrophic hurricane. And then as the Euro model goes right into South Dade, and then through Miami and into West Palm Beach, all the way up to near Fort Pierce, and then right along the coastline there. So this is going to be a devastating storm for Florida if it were to follow the European forecast run. Now, the European is the one that shifted east this morning, and that really set the cone of being pushed off toward the east and lessening the danger for us here along the Sun Coast. The storm has moved right through Barbuda overnight, and then again through the U.S. and British Virgin Islands this afternoon, and now it's starting to exit off just north of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico getting hammered with hurricane force winds. This is the cone. This is actually a little bit of a radius of the winds. The yellow are the low-end tropical storm force winds, and you can see the deep red are the strong hurricane winds moving right there through the Bahamas and then right on in toward Florida. And if you were to superimpose, this is about the extent as far as how it goes, you're going to see that we're going to get very close to those hurricane force winds here in our interior counties. Well, much more in our weather forecast show, the 7-day, coming up in just a few minutes. Scott, back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Now to First Alert traffic. Right now, there's a lot of red on the map. There's some backup on US 301 in Sarasota and Manatee counties, but look at the congestion on I-75 through both counties as people are heading north, apparently leaving South Florida to try to get out of the path of Hurricane Irma. The interstate has been slow going all afternoon, and it continues so at this hour right up north through Manatee County. In health news tonight, baby boomers need to get moving. That's the recommendation from a new study by the Milken Institute School of Public Health at George Washington University. Their study surveyed people ages 50 to 71 for about a decade. Those who tended to sit the most and move the least had more than 3 times the risk of difficult walking by the end of the study. Some couldn't walk at all. The study's authors say prolonged TV watching was particularly harmful, especially when combined with low levels of overall physical activity. Young bodies may rebound from a lot of sitting around with an hour at the gym, but that seems less true in late middle age. A new study is one of the most comprehensive to date, looking at how diet affects health and mortality. McMaster University researchers report in The Lancet that rather than lowering fat, more people might benefit from eating fewer carbs. Participants in the study who ate high quantities of carbohydrates had a nearly 30% higher risk of dying during the study than those who were eating a low-carb diet. Another reason for coffee lovers to rejoice, adults who drank 4 cups of coffee a day had a 64% lower risk of dying compared to those who rarely or never drank the beverage. During a new 10-year Spanish study, the link between coffee and reduced mortality risk was strongest for people over the age of 45. The study's authors say there are compounds in coffee known to fight inflammation, which is a common contributor to age-related health problems. Drink up. Coming up, the National Guard is helping more than just people as Texas recovers from Hurricane Harvey. And one NFL player is helping those victims. The latest on the fundraising efforts by Houston's defensive end J.J. Watt and the donations collected from big names like Ellen DeGeneres.
It's Lincoln's summer sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sport Utility for $269 per month, or a 2017 MKZ for $299 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Sun Coast since 1978. We're located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-683-9262.
I heard about the Dotole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I'm creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah, yeah.
ABC 7, My Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch My Suncoast News wherever you are. On our live stream, on our newly redesigned MySuncoast.com, and a brand new ABC 7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, and dining with recipes in all the hottest Suncoast restaurants. Visit MySuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab to download the ABC 7 My Suncoast app for iOS and Android. Download the all-new ABC 7 First Alert weather app now.
A wildfire in the Sierra foothills of California is threatening communities in the central part of that state. The Mission Fire has destroyed at least 5 buildings, including 3 homes. The battle to stop this fire continues with helicopters dropping water on areas that are still burning. The area remains under an evacuation order. The fire has grown to about 1,000 acres and was about 10% contained and still poses a threat to at least 250 homes. The cause of the fire is under investigation. FEMA has approved funding to the area for recovery efforts. 2 employees in Connecticut didn't think twice when they ran into a burning building to save those trapped inside. The fire happening last week at apartments above a bar in New Haven. Nearby, Matthew Feiner and Johnny Brehan sprung into action. They did what they could to find survivors. They escaped barely, all of it captured on video. They were taken away on a stretcher but are doing okay now. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. In the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, the National Guard is helping deliver supplies to the hardest hit areas. And because Texas has such a big cattle industry, that means teams are also doing what they can to help the cows. The National Guard flying helicopters to scan flooded areas for livestock. It's still too early to calculate Harvey's total impact on livestock, but state officials say there are at least 1.2 million cows that graze in the affected counties. National Guardsmen say they heard from ranchers that cattle were stranded and in need of food.
Requests came down from some local ranchers that the cows had been underwater for a couple of weeks, basically standing in water and obviously nothing to eat.
More missions to help livestock are planned where water, food, medication will be dropped off to hard-hit areas. NFL player J.J. Watt's Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund has now topped $20 million. The Houston Texans defensive end started raising money for storm victims last week. The initial goal of $200,000 was surpassed within hours. Nearly 190,000 donors have contributed to the cause on the crowdfunding site youcaring.com. The latest total is $21.6 million. The site also shows contributions from big names like Walmart, Ellen DeGeneres, and The Tonight Show. Still to come in your Suncoast News, some Floridians are choosing to leave Florida as Irma threatens the U.S., but are having trouble getting out of the state. Why the biggest roads may not be the most efficient evacuation routes.
There's never been a better time to call California Closets. Now during our autumn upgrade event, save up to 20% when you upgrade to an Italian-inspired wood grain finish. Contact us for your free design consultation today. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
It's not just a donation.
It's a warm blanket.
It's a bottle of clean water.
It's a roof and a bed.
It's knowing someone cares.
It's feeling safe.
It's a today that's better than yesterday.
Every dollar you can spare helps so much more than you can imagine. Please donate now. Your help is urgently needed.
There's never been a better time to call California Closets. Now during our autumn upgrade event, save up to 20% when you upgrade to an Italian-inspired wood grain finish. Contact us for your free design consultation today. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.